Hi, this is Seven Star with the Center for Self-Compassion. This is the online course, The Path of Courage. This is part 3, Peace is Possible. So in the first 2 parts of the course, we talked about being with your emotions, and then we talked about remembering your purpose. Now, your purpose is just to return to your true nature. Your true nature is open, loving awareness that is aware of the authentic self, meaning the thoughts and feelings and wants and needs that are arising in each moment. All of that we call the self, the authentic self. And you, as open, loving awareness or presence, are aware of the self so you can attend to it and take care of it. So that's your true nature. That's the way you're designed to live. So for this last part, I wanted to talk about peace, because right now a lot of people are looking for peace or seeking peace or trying to get to peace. And it's important to recognize that who you already are, since you already are this open, loving presence, you already are at peace. So it's not even something that you have. It's just yourself, your true self. The open, loving presence that is aware of the authentic self is at peace. It actually is peace. And that's who you really are. So the only reason why you don't recognize that is because you're busy looking somewhere else. So peace really is an absence of war. It's an absence of fighting. So it's not something you get or get to. If you imagine like an actual war where people are shooting at each other, as soon as they drop their weapons, peace is here. Oh, it was here this whole time. Yeah, it was here this whole time. Doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't come and go. What comes and goes are emotions, thoughts, wants, needs, phenomena, circumstances, situations, things that the body does, behaviors. Those all come and go. The open, loving presence that you really are doesn't go anywhere ever. And so actually anything that you're doing to try to get peace, to chase after peace, that's all making war. You're going away from peace. You're throwing away your chance to be at peace. So you don't need to have any certain emotion here or any certain circumstance happening for you to be at peace, because you are peace. You just think that you're this feeling, or you think that you are this circumstance or this behavior, but you're not. You are the open, loving presence that's aware of your feeling. So even if you're feeling terrible, you're feeling in despair or hopeless or shameful or sad or angry, peace is here. It's the awareness that's aware of the anger or aware of the sadness. It's the awareness that's tending to those feelings. So you don't need to wait until you feel a certain way to be at peace. You can be at peace while you're angry, while you're in pain. Whatever the body is doing, or whatever circumstance is occurring, peace is here. You're just overlooking it. When you really look into anything, you can see peace. Because the open, loving presence that makes everything possible, that makes this possible, that makes all of this world, universe possible, is always at peace. And humans are the best. We are the champions of overlooking that. So our brain, the survival part of our brain, is constantly looking for what is wrong and how can I fix it? And what could be wrong in the future and how can I prevent it? Or if it happens, how can I fix it? And we call that worrying or obsessive thinking or whatever you like to call it. I'm just going to call it worrying. So when you worry, you feel anxiety. You feel anxious. And it's usually a pretty negative feeling. And most people think that they're not at peace when they're feeling anxiety. Because peace is when you feel calm in your body. But you can be at peace even when you don't feel calm in your body, because it's just a feeling that's occurring in your body. So you're constantly trying to survive. Again, the survival part of the brain, the only job of that part of the brain is to keep the body alive as long as possible. So in any moment you have a choice. You can choose to go along with that survival plan and choose to try to be as safe as you can and to keep the body alive as long as possible. Or you can choose freedom. But you can't choose both. Choosing safety is like choosing prison. So you be in prison and feel safe because nothing's going to get me in here, but you're in prison. And I also just want to point out that it's all an illusion. You're really in prison for nothing. It's kind of a joke that you're playing on yourself, a trick, because you're not really actually safe in prison. You might think that way in your mind, but the body can go at any time. It really is pretty fallible. And eventually, it is going away for everyone. So that part of the brain, it can't win. So you might as well spend your time free. You don't have to be in prison and enslaved to that part of the brain which is telling you, do this, do this, do this, do this. Be safe, be safe, be safe, be safe, be safe. You can just be with those feelings and be with that part of the brain and recognize yourself as open, loving presence. That's free from any definition. So the exercise we're going to do is we're going to practice being with anxiety and worrying as open, loving awareness. And then we're going to investigate the nature of that open, loving awareness so that you can see that it is at peace. And you can choose that at any moment. At any moment you can choose to follow either. You can follow the anxiety, identify with the anxiety, or you can remember that you're not the anxiety, you're the awareness. Okay? So. What I want you to do is, I want you to write down something that you're really worrying about. Now, I want to be clear that if you're worrying about something, it does have some future component that you're concerned about. So if something happened that was really difficult or challenging, it might be something that you lost and you'll be grieving. You might feel sad, but you won't be worrying about it. So for example, if my car was stolen, I might feel sad because my car was stolen and I really liked that car. I was attached to it. When we get attached and we lose something we're attached to, then we feel loss and we grieve that loss. We feel sad. That's fine. But if I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do now? I don't have a car. Now I'm worrying. Now you can see how that has a future component. So worrying has a future component. So I want you to write down what you're worrying about, and I want you to really write in detail all of the little pieces and details about what you're imagining is going to happen or might happen in the future. So when I say to myself, what am I going to do now I don't have a car? There's something I'm imagining in my mind that's not good about not having a car. Like I'm imagining myself riding on the bus, and the bus is gross and it smells and there's weird people, or I'm waiting for the bus and it's raining, or it takes me 3 hours to get to work instead of 20 minutes, or there's no bus coming to my job at the time I need to leave, whatever. I'm actually imagining these things happening. And then this is when I start worrying. I have to be creating something terrible in my mind for my mind to start ruminating about what I'm going to do about it. So I want you to really flesh out the story that you're telling yourself. What is it that you're imagining is going to happen or might happen? So write a good paragraph or so. Okay, if you need a little more time, go ahead and pause the video. So now, there's one more thing that I want to point out, and that is that survivability for many of us is about lovability. It's not necessarily about what am I going to eat today, or am I going to have clean water to drink, or do I have a place to sleep that's not in the rain? So for most of us, we have these things taken care of. We live in a fairly privileged society, even if you're on the lower end of that. I know that a lot of people right now are experiencing fear or anxiety about possibly being in that situation because of the pandemic. So I do understand that. However, most people, especially if you're watching this video, you're not there yet. You're not sleeping outside in the rain, and you're not concerned about where you're going to get clean water to drink today. So I can understand, I want to acknowledge if people are feeling anxiety about that possibly happening in the future. But if you're watching this video, I assume that you're still living a fairly comfortable and privileged life. So when you're in that position, most of your survivability, to your mind, is about lovability. So humans are social animals. We need other people around us in order to feel like we're going to make it, because we are not designed to live without other people, right? Many people know that there's many studies that show that children who are alone and who aren't around other people and don't receive touch and affection from other humans, actually their body physically doesn't grow. It's called failure to thrive, and their brain doesn't develop correctly because the brain and the body are dependent. We are totally dependent on other humans to tell us what to do and how to live and how to survive. And also we're collaborative. So I don't grow all my own food. I didn't make this or this. I didn't make these. I'm not my own dentist and I'm not a doctor, and I really, really, really need other people to make it in this world. And we all do. So a lot of our survival behavior has to do with policing the self and making sure that the self is something that is pleasing to other people. So often the things that we worry about are things that we think, if I lose this, I'll be less lovable. Or actually the correct term would be likable. It's not anything to do with love, actually. It's like. So people will like me less. I'll be less likable, and then I might be alone. And for the survival part of the brain, that is the end. Being alone is death. So that part of your brain is constantly telling you to do things to make yourself appear likable. So I just want to have you take a moment and think about the thing that you just wrote down that you're worried about, and write a little bit about, if the thing that I'm really worried about happens, what will it mean about me? Now, if you're worried about something not happening, so if you're really like, oh, I hope I'm going to graduate college, or I'm going to pass my math test, or I hope I'm going to win the lottery. So that's fine. It can be a positive or negative. So if it's something you hope will happen and you're afraid it won't happen, it doesn't matter. So whatever thing you're afraid of. So if you're afraid something will happen or you're afraid something won't happen, doesn't matter. Whatever you're afraid of. If that comes to pass, what would that mean about you? So for my example, if I have to ride the bus instead of driving my car to work, what would that mean about me? Maybe I'd feel embarrassed because I don't have a car. Because I can't afford a car. Everyone will know that I can't actually afford to buy a new car and that I'm not doing so great financially. Or they'll see me as one of those people who has to ride the bus or whatever. Or be associated with bus riders. So I want you to just think about it for a minute. What would it mean about you personally if the thing that you're afraid of ends up happening? Okay, if you need any more time, feel free to pause the video. Now we're going to do a process that's very similar to what we did in the first course. You're going to be with the anxiety. So I want you to take a minute and read back what you wrote, the thing that you're worried about, and what you're imagining is going to happen. And what, if that happens, what it would mean about you as a person. Okay? And as you do that, as you really imagine that thing happening, I want you to just notice what is arising in your body, what kind of feeling is arising in your body. Now, it might be difficult to kind of artificially generate the anxiety, and that's okay. But we're going to go through, you can go through the practice anyway, so that when you actually do experience anxiety, the next time you experience it, you can do this process. So I want you to just think about the thing, read back on the thing that you're worried about, and then just notice what feelings arise in your body when you really start worrying about that thing. As you notice what's coming up in your body, I want you to go ahead and write that down. Maybe it's tightness in your chest, or you feel flushed, you feel hot, or you feel exhausted. Maybe you feel overwhelmed, feel depressed. You feel a very strong desire to run away, or to control things, or to fix it. Whatever you feel, whatever comes up, I want you to just write that down. So now I want you to go ahead and say out loud, when I imagine in my mind, whatever the thing is that you imagine happening, I feel in my body whatever you feel in your body. So when I imagine, I feel in my body So now as awareness, your authentic self has just come to you and expressed something to you. She says, look, I'm imagining this whole scenario in my mind, and these are all the feelings I'm having in my body right now. Okay? So she has had an authentic expression of self, and she's coming to you for love and care. And now you, as the open, loving presence, are going to be there for her. So here's what I'm going to have you say. So I'm going to say it. You can just listen to me. And then I'll say it and you can repeat after me. Okay? So here's what we're going to say. I see that when you imagine, you feel the survival part of your brain is working perfectly. And it totally makes sense that you're feeling that way. Whatever you're feeling right now, your heart is strong enough to bear it all. So you don't need to fight or push against it or run away or get rid of it. Whatever you're feeling right now in your body, it doesn't mean anything about you. Who you are is free. Okay? So now I'm going to have you say it out loud. I'm going to read it and you can repeat after me. I see that when you imagine, you feel, the survival part of your brain is working perfectly. It totally makes sense that you're feeling that way. Whatever you're feeling, your heart is strong enough to bear it all. You don't need to fight it or push against it or run away. Whatever you're feeling right now in your body doesn't mean anything about you. Who you are is free. Now, I'm going to read this one more time. What I want you to do is to close your eyes so that you can concentrate. And I'm going to be the voice of your awareness. I'll be your voice as open, loving presence. And I want you to turn your awareness into itself so that you're actually exploring the nature of the awareness that's aware of your feelings. So, as open, loving presence, I see that when you imagine, you feel, the survival part of your brain is working perfectly, and it completely makes sense that you're feeling that way. Whatever you're feeling right now, your heart is strong enough to bear it all. So you don't need to fight or push against it or run away. Whatever you're feeling right now in your body doesn't mean anything about you. Who you are is free. Now turn your awareness to that awareness. What is the nature of that presence? Is it in any way defined or restricted? Is it bound by anything? Does it have feelings of anxiety? Now, if you answered yes to any of those, I want you to keep going into your awareness until you're noticing just pure presence that has no definition, no particular thought or feeling. It's just aware of whatever is here. Now ask yourself, where is peace? Okay, now I'm going to give you a minute or so to write about what you experienced or what you noticed just then. Okay, now if you need more time, you can certainly stop the video. The point of this exercise is hopefully that you noticed, that you experienced peace, and that you notice that peace is right here anytime you want to notice it. No matter what feeling is here in your body or what's happening. At any moment, you can put down your weapon. You can stop fighting. At any moment, peace is possible. Peace is your true nature. So that is the end of part 3. Peace is possible. Remember that this Thursday, May 21st, at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we will meet on Zoom and we'll discuss the activities that you just did, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you have, and we can just talk and support each other. And I'll also give another lecture during the meeting on Thursday. So I hope to see you all there, and thank you for joining me and watching my video. Remember, you are not the self. You are the love that loves the self.